Hey, good afternoon, guys. Sorry for the delayed start. We just want to make sure everybody got in here, everybody can participate. So, my name is Alan, part of Startup Island, Taiwan. I've been knowing Elisa for a while. Before she got into bike, we worked in the same office, but to have this day together, kind of to be able to host this with her, and she invited me. I'm very shy, I'm not good on stage, but for us to do this and have you guys come in, I think she has grand visions to have Taipei as a destination for both bike enthusiasts and the future of mobility, people who are interested in tech. So at that intersection, she kind of basically got with Taitra to have this event getting started. So this is the year one of multi-years of this bike week and bike ventures. So without further ado, I'll let the hard worker, hard stage, come on up. Come on, Elisa, apologies.
Woo. Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Woo. How are you? Is it still raining outside? Yes? Oh, man. Well, welcome to this year's Taipei Cycle Show and the very first Bike Venture Summit. My name is Elisa Chiu. I am the founder and CEO of Anchor Asia, also known as Anchor Taiwan. I see some familiar faces here. For those of you who are not familiar with Anchor Taiwan, it is a platform that believes in ecosystem building and venture capital for cross-border and cross-industry collaboration. And it is really with tremendous honor and pleasure to gather so many of you from around the world. Can I have a quick shout out in terms of where you are from? Switzerland and Taiwan. Woo! Where? Germany. Where else? Germany and Canada. Anywhere else? We have any countries? Sweden. Great. Any others? Any others? Hong Kong, Netherlands, woo, the kingdom of bicycle. America, yes, yes. Any friends from Asia here? Japan, woo, so many of you. This is like a mini UN here. But perhaps something even more important is that today at this Bike Venture Summit, I think we gather a lot of people who typically would not come to the Taipei Cycle Show to really explore the possibilities at the intersection of bicycle, or maybe we should expand that to use the term mobility, together with technology innovation and capital markets. With our RSVP list today, more than 30% of our participants are actually investors and executives from the technology sectors. This is really what we want to bring and introduce to Taipei Cycle Show. So, what is Bike Venture and why are we doing this? I think many of you know that this is the 35th anniversary of Taipei Cycle. In the past, it's one of the most important trade shows in the world for bicycle-related components and also bicycles. It's still one of the largest and most important cycling expos in the world. However, we believe that in addition to these great partnerships from Taiwan, when it comes to the manufacturing capacity, there's a lot that we can offer when it comes to technology, when it comes to strategic investments. So we want to really bring this new energy into this 35 years trade show to really explore that different possibilities. Because we really believe that diversity is the roots for innovation. And what's better than bringing people with cross-border and cross-industry experiences together? We believe that Taiwan has one of the strongest bicycle industries and also one of the strongest technology industries, from semiconductor to consumer electronics. Can we actually explore the possibilities for them to collaborate more with each other? I believe that there's a lot that we can offer, and there's a lot that we can actually contribute to this global conversation and to really explore the global solution. As Ellen mentioned, this is the very first Bike Venture program. So I remember February last year, I wrote that very first email to Taitra to Taipei Cycle Show. I was like, hey, I love cycling, and I am from the innovation and startup ecosystem. What do you think if we bring that to Taipei Cycle Show? And I guess the rest was history, or perhaps I should say, history in the making. I'm really, really thankful for Taitra and Taipei Cycle Show's support, their partnership, and trust. Because without that, this would not be a reality. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of team members behind the scene to make this happen. In addition to this summit, from several months ago, we kicked off a global open call for startups, investors, and corporates. And this time, we are exploring innovation, not just with the bike itself, but also what's the possibility with the bike and electricity? What's the possibilities with hardware and software? This time, these four are the major categories that we are searching for when it comes to the best solutions in the world. We want to invite them to Taiwan to collaborate with our corporates, our startups, our talents, and vice versa. From e-bike, obviously, but not just the e-bike, but also the software system, IoT solutions. We're also looking for disruptive business models. What's the possibilities? One of our startups this time is a fintech startup. For a lot of people in the cycling industry, they feel like, fintech, what's the relationship with cycling? You are going to hear from the founder himself in a bit. In addition to that, how about digital transformation? A lot of startups in this space, they probably can find their best partners and investors in Taiwan. It's just that in the past, I think the world still knows very little about Taiwan beyond our manufacturing capacity. And last but not least, we are all looking for ESG solutions. This time, we also have some startups around that, which you're going to hear from in a bit. For this global open call with startups, it's not just me saying that, oh, this startup is great. In order to really consolidate different opinions and different perspectives from different industries, we invited both industry leaders from the bike industries as well as the technology, consumer electronics, and the venture industries. You're going to meet all of our advisory committee members tomorrow. Today we have some of them here. I see Donald sitting right there. Quick shout out, Chief Strategy Officer at Giant Group. And also Kathy, who is going to do the interview in a bit. But you are going to meet all of them tomorrow at the pitch session. Speaking of the pitch session, so if you like this, and if you want to learn more, you have to go and check out the Bike Venture Zone. At Hall 1, near entrance L, on the 4th floor, this year, there's this new area focusing on startup and innovation. This is where you will be able to meet the 10 startup honorees for the very first year of the Bike Venture program. And with that, specifically, I want to really thank the support with Startup Island Taiwan, which Ellen is leading the team. Can I get all of the team members? Startup Island Taiwan, they're helping out with the checking and so on and so forth. Another one, TBA, very, very important platform, I think, for those who are in the bicycle industries. They all know Taiwan Bicycle Association. I really want to thank them for their support for the event tomorrow. And tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, actually at the Bike Venture Zone, we also invited 2 speakers to really give a very interactive salons to share their experiences from Germany, from Europe, and also to explore different conversations with industry leaders in Taiwan. One of the speakers is sitting right there, Deborah Wu. Thank you so much for supporting this. I really encourage you to go check out pitch sessions, happy hours, and all of these incredible sessions that's going to happen. So, I really hope that Bike Venture is not just an event. And I hope that it's not even just a program or a platform. I'm really hoping that this can become a spirit and DNA and culture, really to bring people from around the world with different stakeholders together to co-create and to explore the possibilities for our collective growth and for our collective well-being. I hope that it's possible that even though I know that last year was a difficult year for a lot of our industry friends, I hope that even though we still need to deal with that inventories that's just a little bit too high, even though we live in this perhaps still imperfect world where there's still a lot of business considerations and also normal competition, but I hope that even with all of that, we can figure out a way to still take care of each other, to take care of ourselves, to take care of the industry together, and perhaps most importantly, to take care of our planets. So with that, I'm gonna stop there because we have a tremendous program coming up. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you will enjoy this show. If you like this message, if you like this movement, be part of this. Doesn't matter which industry you're from, which country you're from. Join the conversation. Think about what you can do and try to be a part of this. So thank you. And I'm gonna give it back to Ellen. Woo,
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Yeah. Very good stage presence. I'm learning from her. Thank you, guys. Before we get started, the next session will be Innovation in Motion. I think this will be quite interesting for those who are interested in VC and venture capital, but also kind of what's going on in future mobility from not just bicycle or traditional manufacturers or operators, OEMs. We actually have two guests today, one from strictly from the VC side, but also one from also the transportation or mobility, actually in the industry. So without further ado, let me invite Kay from Yamaha, CEO of Yamaha Ventures, and Kathy Huang from Palm Drive. If you don't mind, come on up. Kathy, if you don't mind, come on up, Kathy. And we have microphones in here for you. And Kay, thank you. Yeah, you're here.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
All right. This is I guess we're the first opening act. This is not nerve-wracking at all. Kate, welcome to Taipei. I know you're not unfamiliar. This is your 8th time visiting. And when Elisa connected us a couple of weeks ago via WhatsApp to kind of coordinate logistics for this session, I couldn't help but notice your WhatsApp profile picture. And it looks something like this. So, wow, first of all, you look great. And I'm wondering, is the BMX skill, a requirement for, getting a job at Yamaha?
Yeah, at least BMX or mountain bikes. Yeah, you need to. Yeah, just kidding. And also, it's way back. I think almost 10 years ago. Of course, I lost lots of muscle. So, disclaimer. Yeah.
Okay, we slightly enhanced this via AI, but
Yeah, using Sora.
Maybe, obviously, I think everyone who's coming today is familiar with Yamaha. It's a well-known global brand from Japan. But before diving into Yamaha Motor Ventures, we'd love to hear a little bit about Yamaha and what you guys are up to today. What are some of the different divisions, and where business activities take place for you guys?
Yeah, sure. So Yamaha is a quite multinational organization, and it has quite a lot of business units. It's an aggregation of lots of different business units. Probably the most important, and also well-known one is the motorcycle business unit. That's one. And also the marine business unit, like selling outboards or jet skis, such kind of stuff. And also we sell the factory automation robots and the SMTs, surface mounters. And we have financial service business units, and also, of course, e-bike business units as well. And even we sell pools, drones. We have multiple business units. And last year, we recorded like $16 billion in revenue. And almost 65% of the revenue came from the land mobility businesses, like motorcycle, etc. And 23% came from marine business unit. But in terms of the profit, marine business unit it has the most high operating income ratio, and that's the most likely the marine business focuses on US.
And you joined Yamaha Motors in 2008. You were professionally trained as a mechanical engineer, and now you run the Yamaha Motor Ventures company as a CVC. So maybe let's kind of fill in the blanks from 2008 to 2024. You're a veteran at the Yamaha Corporation with many different roles. We'll love to hear kind of your career trajectory and what led you to investing in early stage opportunities related to Yamaha.
Yeah. So looking back my career, I was like probably doing job hopping within Yamaha. I joined Yamaha in 2008 as a manufacturing engineer, so focusing on factory automation, robotics, manufacturing technologies for like the motorcycle business unit. I spent lots of time in Southeast Asia, also in Taiwan as well, setting up new production lines, launch new products, etc. And I spent the 3 to 4 years in manufacturing sector, and I got an opportunity to study abroad. So I went to the business school in the US, and I studied the business. Also during the business school, I got an opportunity to do internship at Tesla back in 2014. And if I joined Tesla, maybe I'm not here. After I graduated from school, business school in 2015, and that was the year that Yamaha decided to start the CVC program, 2015. And the Yamaha Motor Ventures was established in the year. And I wasn't initially joined the team in the US, but I came back to Japan. And being a member of like the mothership division that governs the Yamaha Motor Ventures. Then after spending a few years doing CVC in parent company side, Yamaha decided to start a new department, which is called the Digital Strategy Division. Probably you are familiar with like the word digital transformation. Using lots of digital technology to transform the internal operations, etc. So I was in charge of data science and also digital marketing, taking the Yamaha internal organizations as a client. So digital strategy division was sort of the internal consulting / implementation partner to help them to transform their businesses. Then from 2022, I came back to the CVC world. But compared to 2015, setup was completely changed in a good way.
And I know today you're physically based in the Bay Area, and it seems like it's a conscious decision from the parent corporation side to be based in the Bay Area. Like what, kind of curious. It's a Japanese company. How did you guys sort of decide? From 2015, you're investing using balance sheet to today. There is a separate entity. It's a fund structure. That journey kind of you're probably at the forefront witnessing how the decisions were made. So curious, can you talk a little bit about for corporates that are interested, in Taiwan we have a lot of corporations that also have, CVC function. How do you sort of transition from balance sheet investing to, to having a fund vehicle and sort of have the incentive structure that are slightly different from before?
So back in 2015, we started the startup investment as off the balance sheet investment. So I still remember the word from the president back then. Hey, if you want to make even $1 investment to the startup, you need to get my approval. So back then, parent company was not well educated about the startup investment. They didn't know about what term sheet is. What is Series A? So what is a product market fit? It's written in the investment memo. Why is investment memo? So we had to, from 2015 to 2019, it was those 4 years was necessary for us to educate ourselves to get familiar with what is startup investment. And it's not only for the top management in parent company side. When you make an investment, and also after you close a deal, that you need to engage with the startups, and also not only business unit, but also the corporate functions need to engage with startups, also auditors as well. Not only BU, but also F&A divisions and also legal department, all of them had to learn how to make an investment and also how to get out the most from the startup investment as well. So those 4 years was sort of the learning that period, I think. It was necessary for us. But back in 2019, we decided to take hybrid approach. The business units lead highly strategic investments. Oftentimes, like it ties to the immediate projects or MOU, LOI, some sort of like a commercial engagement is needed. Oftentimes it takes time. And check size can vary. Maybe it could be less than 1 million, it could be 50 million, or more than that. It varies, but highly, highly strategic. But also we started the fund, Yamaha Motor Ventures, the fund, Yamaha Motor Exploratory Fund, that manages $100 million with completely the similar setup with financial VCs. GPLP structure, 220 rules, independent investment committee. We don't need to get buy-in from BUs. Highly, like pretty much close to financial VCs. So the reason why we moved to that direction is because off the balance sheet investment is not oftentimes fit to the exploratory investment, having the slightly longer time span, looking at like middle, like three to 5 years later. Also, like the shareholders didn't quite get it. Okay, so you made an let's say you make an investment to the startup, something related to e-bike. Yeah, it makes sense. It's in your balance sheet. But why did you make investment to the agriculture tech in the company startups, and it's still on the balance sheet? What's this? You don't have agriculture business units. So also it got a little bit difficult for us to explain to the shareholder about our move. So we decided to take the hybrid approach. Highly strategic off the balance sheet investment, as well as highly exploratory investment out of funds.
And when you rejoined Yamaha in 2015, you went back to Japan, or you relocated to the Bay Area already then?
Yeah, 2015, I just came back to Japan.
To Japan, okay. And then the digital transformation, digital strategy, that's starting in 2018. I'm curious because when we think about kind of especially Asian businesses with long legacy, decision-making tend to be conservative and slow. I don't know what your AUM is today, but I'm sure it's quite sizable. So are there like stories you can share? How did you manage to convince the stakeholders or the shareholders or the senior execs where they kind of come around to, hey, maybe balance sheet is not the right thing to do when we're looking to create kind of the next large opportunity sets? Like, are there kind of stories or war stories that you can share? Because the transition, this kind of from balance sheet to hybrid to today, there is a GPLP fund. That all happened kind of in around 10 years time frame, which I think it's quite fast.
Yeah, so I think everything comes down to the top management. And so the reason why we started the CVC, corporate VC activity, is to transform ourselves. So Yamaha has historically keep adding new business units. That was the driver of the growth. So starting from, actually there is another Yamaha company, Yamaha Corporation, that is doing music stuff. If we include that, Yamaha started our business from music, piano, then motorcycle, outboard, robots, drones, and e-bikes. That was our history and also that is written in our growth DNA. But when we started the e-bike business, that was almost 20 years ago. So what's next? We primarily focusing on like organic internal business development and also new product development, new business development. But is it okay to keep doing it to transform ourselves? So if we stick to existing business units, it's not growth. We just stuck, or maybe we wouldn't grow in the future. So we need to have a different model of the growth. So top management decided to more like partner with the startups, partner with the other external stakeholders and parties to bring new technology and also mindset to Yamaha. So I think it came from the sort of sense of urgency from the top management. What can we do now to transform ourselves? So that made them to make a decision from moving from the only the balance sheet investment to the hybrid model, even giving lots of autonomy to the Yamaha Motor Ventures. It's quite, still I will say it's very unique organization from other business units and also Yamaha subsidiaries.
And for Yamaha Motor Ventures today that you're a CEO of, can you maybe share with the audience what is it? Maybe some of the details about the fund itself, how many companies in the portfolio, what are some of the areas that you guys look at, the stage that you guys deploy at, and check size.
Yeah. So Yamaha Motor Ventures currently manages 3 funds. Yamaha Motor Exploratory Fund 1, 2, and Yamaha Motor Sustainability Fund. So each fund has 100 million. So our AUM is 300 million. And we have currently 28 portfolio companies across regions. But we can invest globally, but primarily we focus on North America. 90% of our capital deployed to the startup space in North America. One of the reasons is because the Bay Area in California is the only location we have physical presence. So it's hard to make an investment to the regions that we don't have physical presence because it's harder to build relationship. We invest in the quite broad sectors. Mobility, of course, robotics, fintech, insurtech, data AI. Those are the sort of core and adjacent areas to our core businesses. And other sectors that we want to build a new business, we invest into agtech, agricultural tech, and also digital health and wellness. And those 6 sectors are the investment focus areas from the Yamaha Motor Exploratory Fund. And we also invest into 3 categories, carbon management and removal, energy transition, as well as advanced materials. Those are the sectors we make an investment out of Yamaha Motor Sustainability Fund. So we primarily want to invest into the startups that can help Yamaha to decarbonize our supply chain and value chain. And stage-wise, we can invest in from Series Seed to Series A, Series B, and Series A is our sweet spot. And the average first check size could be around $2 million, and it can go up to $10 million per company.
And how many portfolio companies today that are active within your portfolio?
Currently, we had 28 and 26 are active.
Okay, got it. And maybe within the sectors that you guys are particularly active, I think when we were just chatting now, you mentioned on the sustainability side, you guys are a little bit less active, but last year you guys made 7 new investments and 7 follow-on investments. So, in the Bay Area, myself and our colleagues in New York, we have been sort of a little bit gun shy for the last, I would say, maybe 12 months or so. And it feels like that sort of hesitancy still will most likely continue, but it seems like you guys are staying course and still very actively deploying. So would love to kind of hear a little bit about, in maybe the last year, where have you guys been active? And specifically related to mobility, where do you see opportunities lie for the industry?
Yeah. So as you are familiar with, currently startups are in very difficult situation, and as Kathy mentioned, lots of startups are struggling to raise capital. Not only startups, but also
I think
VCs.
funds are struggling to raise
as
funds.
Well. Yeah. Yeah, actually, currently we are getting lots of requests, and also I get lots of LinkedIn message from other funds. Hey, Kay, are you doing fund of funds investment?
Yeah, are you considering Palm Drive Capital?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't do fund of funds, but we can talk later. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we can make exemption. And so we, from fund perspective, we need to take a look at financial return first. Balance sheet, off the balance sheet investment, it can be very strategic. But from our perspective, we need to get financial return first. We always try to make an investment to the companies that we can expect 10x return. We need to return the capital to LP, which is Yamaha Motor Corporation. So from that perspective, 2019 to 2021 was really crazy years. Valuation was crazy, and also still currently sustainability related, climate tech, and also AI valuation is like crazy. So with almost zero ARR, you can say that you can claim 100 million valuation. It's simply crazy. So we stay away from such kind of hype. But last year we focused more on the sub-sectors that were in the difficult condition. Digital health, fintech, mobility, robotics, something related to manufacturing. Those sectors were actually in a difficult condition, which means like a valuation was very reasonable for us as an investor's perspective. And also, startups changed really with their mind as well. Previously, they were, most likely, they prioritized financial VCs to raise capital. But in the economic downturn, they started seeing the value that corporate VCs can offer to the startups. There is one biggest differentiator that CVC has, which is corporate can be a customer. Financial VC cannot. So let's say Yamaha became interested in something related to the manufacturing process, like the AI for manufacturing process. We make investment, and potentially we also can be a customer, a strategic partner, right? So from that perspective, startups started seeing, or more like they became more interested in working with CVCs. Also, that was plus for Yamaha Motor Ventures. Keep up the pace of the capital deployment, even in the difficult time.
Maybe just to double click into the the CVC can be a customer of startups. Are there maybe one or two case studies that you can maybe give on the genesis of the investment to kind of Yamaha becoming a customer for the startups?
Yeah, so I can give some examples. One company that Yamaha became a customer is in digital health space, telehealth space. It's called GoodPath. You can Google it. And they offer, they are based in US, by the way. They offer the telehealth solution for employees and as a corporate benefits. And Yamaha wanted to build some new business related to telehealth, so we made an investment. But turned out the Yamaha Motor USA became a customer, and currently, like Moderna, like the vaccine company, Moderna and Yamaha Motor USA are the champion customers for the good path. That's the one example I can give.
Got it. And obviously, I think we can't have this investor discussion without talking about artificial intelligence. Curious, sort of overarching at the thematic level, how do you guys, maybe at the parent side, how do you guys think AI will impact the core business today? And then in terms of Yamaha Motor Ventures on the fund side, how are you guys looking at the opportunity set that's available within AI, and then maybe like how that crosses over to mobility?
Yeah. So AI has, I'm super excited about current, everything's happening around the AI, and it will completely change everyone's life for sure. So from corporate perspective, there are two impacts, like customer experience as well as internal operation. So currently, lots of stuff is happening like ChatGPT or Sora, or lots of models are coming out. That's happening in most likely customer side. Also, I think like one of the biggest area that probably we see the changes in short term would be something related to sales and marketing. So currently you have Google and you do probably SEOs. But soon, people stop using Google search, but go to Perplexity or maybe ChatGPT. So not the paid for the link, but there is a paid sentence. And also, marketers need to influence the Google, stop influencing to the SEO, but they need to influence on the maybe in the future agent. You wouldn't sell products to the maybe people start using their own avatar or their own agents. You need to think about how to influence their own agents. That kind of marketing sales activities is like one of the area I see like the big changes is coming. Another aspect is like the internal operation. When it comes to manufacturing, lots of process, especially related to some design, can be automated. We made an investment to the company called Atomic Industries. They are based in US. And they can automate the design of dies for plastic injection molding and also aluminum die casting as well. So usually it takes 2 weeks to design, even with the experienced person. That takes 2 weeks, but their AI can design the same quality or higher quality of the dies in 24 hours. We made an investment and we are currently working with them. So absolutely, how we work as a manufacturer will completely change in not like 10 years, but within 2 to 3 years. We completely redesign our R&D and manufacturing process.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Perplexity, because when, as part of the research to have this discussion with you, I actually just asked Perplexity a bunch of questions about Yamaha, and then that was the, that really helped. I think that probably saved me at least an hour of Googling around or going onto the Yamaha website. So it's pretty transformational in terms of a lot of the knowledge workers, how the workflow might change, how some jobs might not be necessary anymore. Maybe very quickly, before we maybe have time for 1 or 2 audience questions, would you invest into LLMs today?
No.
Okay, everyone heard it here first. No LLMs.
Game of LLM is done. So that the foundation model piece is done. It's done deal. So like there are two areas that startups can play, which is AI application and also agents. Those two are the only sectors that we can play. But I think this time, this game of AI is pretty much preferable to the corporates, I think. Because the foundation model will be just simply become commoditized or a platform. Corporates has proprietary data. The data will be really a king in the future. So please keep your proprietary data in your organization. Don't give it to Google.
Okay, I think that's great. Do we have time for audience question? Okay, so maybe does anyone have questions for Kay? All right. Well, maybe I have one more question then. So we were just chatting about the open source, closed source debate within artificial intelligence. So on Twitter or X now, there is a huge fight between Vinod Khosla and Mark Andreessen about whether AI should be a closed source endeavor or open source. I'm curious because you're based in the Bay Area. Do you have a perspective on future of AI and how this develops?
Yeah. So the discussion between Mark Andreessen and also Vinod Khosla completely split the Bay Area. Really, they are taking either approach, flow for open source or flow for closed source. Simply, you need to take the side. But from my perspective, I'm more like taking the approach. My view is more towards Vinod Khosla. I'm a true believer of open source. And oftentimes, currently ChatGPT, lots of models are there, but I don't quite like a number of quite few companies get out the most of the benefit from the LLM and the power of AI. I prefer to decentralize all the functions and also power to the players in the ecosystem. And I think open source model will absolutely empower all the corporates and also individuals. I think that's the initial the sort of the mindset that Elon had when he was also a part of OpenAI. So yeah, I prefer the open source approach.
Are you guys working with any LLMs or so some corporates I know they are both experimenting with Llama 2 and also OpenAI, some with Anthropic. At the parent level, is this something that you guys have kind of teams that's sort of studying and see how it can be best applied?
Yeah. So even within Yamaha Motor Ventures, we test LLM. The one example is how to streamline the hiring process. So, of course, we need to go through the interview process to know more about the candidates. But screening thousands of resumes can be done by ChatGPT or like a GPT-4. It works pretty well, so we do it. And also parent company side as well, they are trying to incorporate LLM and also other text to the visual, like images, models as well. We are working a lot on LLM.
Great, awesome, thank you. I guess if there are no questions, thank you, Kay, for being in Taipei, and hope you have a great show. Oh, all right, yeah.
Hello, my name is John Tully, coming from Los Angeles, and I'm curious if any of your portfolio companies are in the light electric industry or mobility.
Yeah, we have two portfolio companies that are in the bike industry, bicycle industry. One is the Velofix. Velofix is a Canadian company. They offer mobile, the e-bike and bicycle repair the service. So you call them and they come to the van. And they come with a van with lots of the tools and also the parts. That's one. And also we are the investor to the Ride Panda. Ride Panda is the US company, and they offer e-bike the leasing solution to the corporates as a employee benefits.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Kay. I think one takeaway is if there's any VCs in the U.S., you better grab the startups that are undervalued before Kay kind of scoops them up for all the value. But for the next session, I think we've had 10 startups from over 14 countries. They submitted, and down to 10. We have 5 that will be presenting. And as we begin, if the CTO Rybit is Jeffrey in the house? Where's Jeffrey at? Come on up, Jeffrey.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Bike Ventures, Anchor Taiwan for inviting us. So a quick pitch about Rybit. We're a B2B focused technology platform that we basically provide technology, and we provide on-premise, on-ground servicing as well. Right, so we're primarily focused in providing B2B subscriptions to use cases like, for example, delivery, corporate leasing, tourism, and today we also have bike sharing subscriptions that we run today. So we're in Taiwan, again, hosted by Bike Ventures, and we're going to be around. If you're interested in learning more about us, feel free. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, if Giovanni, Andy, Immo, and Alfred could just kind of stand by here, but at the same time, this is a one minute pitch. I think Jeffrey did great. So you guys, there'll be a ding if you go over, but at the same time, we can have Giovanni from 9T Labs. Come on up, buddy.
So strong and lightweight carbon fiber bicycles have been around for more than 3 decades. Did you know that most carbon fiber bikes that are produced also in this country are produced manually, layer by layer, with non-recyclable materials? So the big and hot question remains, how can you continuously advance lightweighting and performance in bicycles by promoting a more sustainable, environmentally friendly solution? I'm Giovanni, co-founder of 9T, a Swiss manufacturing technology company that helps you produce composite parts, carbon fiber parts at scale, using automation, using additive manufacturing, and using recyclable materials. So if you're interested to strategically invest in our company, or if you're interested to learn more how you can use our technology to improve your products, please reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Giovanni. Next, nobody went over, no ding, 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 so we're kind of good here, good. Can we have Andy from Yaz coming from Hong Kong?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Andy Ant from Yaz. And no matter you're on a e-bike, mountain bikes, or road bikes, the faster you go, the easier you get hurt. And if you get hurt one day or you hit something, we're here to help you. So we have 3 advanced technology solutions. First one is a B2C product, where with your mobile phone, one click, you're able to access our insurance. Within 24 hours, you can claim, and you can access a roadside assistant. The second one is a B2B for our partners, where we can embed our insurance and solutions into the product sales cycle. And the last one is actually a community reward system, where if you don't injure yourself, you're being responsible, we're giving you tokens and points. And we are ready to join the revolution of a greener transportation and hope that we can bring a better and safer world. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you. Next, if possible, can we have Immo from Pentalock?
Hello, my name is Emil. I'm the co-founder of Pentalock. At Pentalock, we are aiming to solve the problem of bike theft, which is a huge problem, especially for people looking to buy a new e-bike. It's the #1 concern. And we solve this problem by offering a fully integrated immobilizer for bicycle manufacturers and OEMs. It's easy to integrate, and it's designed as a vital part of the bicycle, so it's easy to, so say, or impossible to cut, remove, or replace without breaking the bike or making it, so to say, unsellable and unusable. And besides security, we have a lot of additional features such as riding technology, torque, proximity, and so on. And we're currently looking for a strategic investor or partner to help us scale our company, and we are located in the bike venture zone, so find me afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Imo. Everybody did really good, no overages. Next up, Bicycle Cluster and Alfred. Please join us.
Hi, I'm Alfred, the founder of Bicycle Cluster. Bicycle Cluster is a digital platform that clusters industry supply chain. Our goal is to make supply chain searches simple, convenient, and precise. And in the future, now we have 600 corporate members registered, and with more than 10,000 products uploaded. In the future, we want to incorporate AI, integrate AI and the platform data to make sourcing and matching more efficient. And by using keyword trends, we aim to digitalize the industry keywords trends. And if you want to know more about Bicycle Cluster, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred. Thank you. Now, these 5 startups, including the next 5 that will be coming up after the next panel, they'll all be at Hall 1 at the booth, so you guys can visit and test their products on later and throughout the show. As we begin the next session, now let's hear from the entrepreneurs who are reinventing the wheel and shaping the future mobility. Please welcome Joshua Hong, founder of Tern Bicycles, Charlie Chuan of Hyena, woo, you got it, fans, and Mark Lin of Rybit, CEO. Come on up, Ryan. Excuse me, Mark. Pardon me, buddy. Have a seat, buddy.
Good afternoon. So welcome to the startup session. So when Elisa initiated this Bike Venture Summit, I think the purpose is to have a transformational innovation hub right at the center of this very historical trade show, right? So we have the privilege today to invite two scale-ups. I wouldn't say startups, because startups doesn't do them enough justice. They have been very successful in the e-bike and bike field. So first, to my right, we have Charlie. So Charlie came from a dual background in electronics and also bike industry, right? So I should call you 学长, right? So he graduated from electrical engineering, master degree, National Taiwan University, worked at Realtek for 7 years, and then moved to Giant, and then he started his own company, Hyena, focused on providing quality and affordable e-bike system solutions for major brands. And today they have sold 400,000 e-bike systems across North America, Europe, and Japan.
More.
And more than that, sorry.
Yeah, just kidding.
And also to your right, to the audience left, you have Josh. So Josh came from Silicon Valley. So Stanford graduate, and he played a pivotal role in creating the so-called folding bike when he was at Dahon. And more than 10 years ago, he started Tern Bicycles. He's the founder and team captain at Tern Bicycles. And recently, he started Wombi, W-O-M-B-I, BBI. So no spoiler here. I'll let him talk more about it later. So it's an e-bike subscription business. Right? So the way we're going to start the panel today is from an interesting observation. Right? So when I went to IAA Mobility in Germany, like 2022, 2023, interestingly, at this most prominent automobile show in the world, there were like 2 exhibition halls fully dedicated to e-bikes. So e-bikes have become a major mode of transportation today. But when we look at the automobile industry, there has been a lot of innovation happening in the past decade. Right? So you see Tesla, the market cap of Tesla has exceed the combination of all the major car brands. So I can't stop but wondering, is there any such Tesla-like innovation happening in the bike industry? Right, from this example, I'd like to start with this question. Is there any, maybe Josh, you can take it, is there any possibility of any Tesla-like revolution, disruption, innovation, whatever you call it, in the bike industry?
Thanks, Mark. Well, I think, I think that the bicycle industry is pretty traditional, right? So Tern is very traditional. We sell to a distributor sells to a dealer, then sells to a consumer. And that's how those of us who have been in the industry for 20, 30, 40 years, right? That's how we've always done it. But I think we can learn a lot from the car industry. And you talk about Tesla, great example. They did a lot of things, right? Distribution, they disrupted. I mean, use of software disrupted, electrification disrupted. So I think, we are now at Tern, and now with our new startup, Wombi, we're looking at the car industry, and we're saying, well, what do those guys do differently? What can we learn? And so there's just a lot of stuff, right? So there's, there's D2C, right, direct to consumer, right? There's how you sell, how you deliver service, how you finance, other services you can offer, insurance, right? And so I saw a great slide yesterday from Ben here. And so, it's something like 74% of the revenues that a car company makes are from outside of new car sales, right? So if we look at the traditional bike industry and all we've ever done is, hey, we're selling new bikes. That's it, right? What can we learn from them? And there's just a ton, right? Secondhand sales, right? There's a lot. So I think there is a lot of disruption that can be had. And that's something we're interested in doing, and we're looking at it. And there's great models out there for us to study.
So maybe Charlie, I think from the automobile example, right? So Tesla came from this software-defined mindset. And I know Hyena has been doing a lot of software, hardware integration. So what opportunities have you seen in this specific segment? And how can we learn from the automobile industry?
Well, firstly, I think I fully agree what Josh said just now. I think the key word is traditional. Sometimes we say bicycle industry is very traditional. It sounds like negative, but I would say there was a big opportunity from my point of view. And that's honestly it's how I want to start our own company, which is 10 years ago, because I come from electronics industrials, as Mark said just now. I remember at the beginning I entered bicycle industry. No matter what I saw in bicycle industry, the process, the products, the flow, whatever, I feel everything can be improved. And honestly, at that moment, I worked in bicycle industry for only like 3 months. I want to leave, because I think the gap is huge, and it's not gonna, everything is not gonna happen. I cannot do anything in bicycle industry. But my boss, I have a long talk with my boss, and I think at this moment I would say I'm very lucky because I stay. And after let's say 2-3 years, I suddenly found, it seems I know how to do something in bicycle industry. And so that's why I say I fully agree, because traditional, that somehow means we have many opportunity to change. And so, for example, let's say just e-car, start with e-car. 13 years ago, when I just entered this market, electric bicycle, I remember at that moment, many people still talk about if electric bicycle is a future product. Some of them even say, that is just a disabled bicycle, which means the electric bicycle is only for old people and disabled people. But I don't think there's anyone doubt this at this moment. Yeah, I believe everybody's thinking, oh, everybody talk about electric bicycle is the future at this moment. So from my point of view, as long as someone who can see the future and he jump out and make the first product and make it feasible, then everybody shut their mouth. So that's what I see. And I think the second point is how we are able to find the pain point in this market and then find a solution. Let's say Tesla, what I saw is the traditional car industry, they have a very long supply chain network. They have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So an e-car company, a brand company, if they want to develop a car, they have to spend a lot of time integrating and solving the complicated supply chain issue. Then they are able to build a car. I think the same thing happened in bicycle. Originally, a bicycle brand, they want to build a bicycle. It's quite easy. They just go to every different bicycle component supplier, and they collect all components together. Then they are able to build a traditional bicycle. I think bicycle industry has been there for more than 100 years, which means this bicycle industry, they already developed, they already train, educate many bicycle expert. So when they want to build a traditional bicycle, it's quite easy. You can just it's quite easy to find professional guys in bicycle industry to build a traditional bicycle. But if the same thing happen, if the things move to electric bicycle, it's totally different, because there are few people, they know how to build electronics, and there was a chance. So we start. The reason I started this company, and I found the pain point in the market, and we invest a lot to build a standard system to educate the people in bicycle industry how to build an e-bike, traditional bicycle and the electronics. And as I say just now, because for the first 2-3 years, I suffered in bicycle industry. I don't even know how to work with a bicycle guy. To be honest, I don't even know how to talk with a bicycle guy, because the culture difference, the process different, the flow different. So after these 3-4 years, I know that then we are able to build this, the standard flow, and we understand how to, talk to them. And I think that's the second point that I found. And the third point is, I would say, with the same spec, the electric bicycle the retail price of this electric bicycle is about 3 times of a normal bicycle. That means if you want to invest in building an e-bike, you have to invest much more than the money you want to do in normal bicycle. Which also means, how can you get this capital? So I think how to leverage capital markets is another lesson we have to learn. And unfortunately, bicycle industry is a traditional industry, as you say. So few bicycle company, original traditional bicycle company, they know capital very much. So I would say, and for sure, we spend a lot of time understanding these things, and eventually we know how to leverage the capital market. And I think that's the major 3 points I want to share with you guys.
Yeah, speaking of the capital markets, I know I want to direct this question to Josh. So Josh, as a very experienced entrepreneur and also your fundraising for your new project, new company, Wombi, and also you come from Silicon Valley, Stanford graduate. A lot of your friends are VCs in the Valley. So what's your take on this? How can the bike industry leverage the capital markets to transform or disrupt the existing landscape?
Well, fundraising's pretty hard right now, right? So everybody's sitting out there. Fundraising's hard. The other thing I would say is that you have to understand that there are differences between where you raise, right? So we're just about finishing up our Series A for Wombi. And we raised in Taiwan, and we raised in US, and we raised in Europe. And it's pretty different in all of the places. So, when I had my pitch, my job was fundraiser. So when I went out and talked to my Silicon Valley VC friends, and I go, here's my pitch deck, and this is our valuation. And his comment back to me was like, what? This is way too low. You should be much higher. We have guys with a pitch deck and nothing that come in asking for 10 mil, right? And but in Taiwan, it's very different. It's like how much capital is going in, and what assets, what hard assets do you own, and so it's very different, right? So every market is where you're raising is different. So I think understanding those cultural differences is super important. But in general, right now, it's a tough fundraising environment. And so, also tempering your expectations on how much you're going to raise and your go-to-market model, how much money are we going to burn for how long, right? So those are things that you have to adjust, because right now the appetite for, hey, I'm going to burn all this money for this long to get to this size, maybe that's not very palatable to VCs now. And so, also, hey, we're going to get to profitability or break even this quickly. Those are things that we had to adjust as well. So I think all of those things have to come into play. But yeah, it's tough to hear from one side, your valuation's way too low, you've got to go higher. And then from the other side, what? But you don't have any assets. How can you ask for that? You just started. So it's you have to tread that path, which is hard.
Yeah, so Charlie, what's the advice? Because you've been very successful in raising a lot of capital from reputable investors like CID, Jafco. What's the tips? And what's the purpose? How do you intend to use this capital to grow the company, like talent acquisition and also other purposes?
Well, I'm not going to say I'm very successful, but yeah, we did something. And I think that was kind of like standard flow, because if you want to raise fund, you have to have a plan, a proposal to your potential investors, like how much money you want to raise and what kind of things you are going to do. I think that was quite standard flow, and I believe many investors here know this much more than I do. So, but I think I probably can share you something about traditional things. Well, I even link some investors with some traditional bicycle companies who are potential actually. And I found the failure rate is quite high. Initially, I don't know why. But after after I tried, sometimes it seems to me I found some something. Well, I would say the same. I think bicycle industry has been there for more than 100 years. And think about that. 100 years ago, what did capital market look like? I would say it was not mature, which means when people at that moment they want to, fund a company, I think the only thing they do is probably just went to their family and or their friends, collect some money. And they was lucky, they succeed, and after 100 years, if now they want to expand their company, think about that. What are they going to do? I think people tend to use the way they used to do. So they normally think about, oh, I can go to bank. I can go to my family, friends again. So they don't even think about capital. So when I link the investors with them, financial investors with them, and they don't even know what capital market looks like. So if the atmosphere and the communication is not that careful, then I think there is no trust, and I don't think the investment is going to happen. So I would say invest in the other industry, I don't know, but I would say invest in traditional bicycle company. I believe there was another little secret probably we can share with each other, afterward. Yeah, I think that's what I can share with you guys.
So I want to go back to Josh. So Josh, you mentioned that when you are looking for investors, that a patient capital is what you are particularly going after, right? So can you elaborate a little bit more on this? Like, what kind of patient capital would you be looking for, and what kind of investors, when you start your next venture, would you be partnering with?
Well, I hope never to be raising money again. It's not that fun. Well, I think when we look for investors, we look for investors where there's synergy, right? Strategic investors where 1 + 1 = 3. So I think that's, early in the Tern days, we raised back in the day, and our factory was interested in investing. And so at the time, they're still huge, and we're small. We were very small, and there was no way we would have gotten their attention or even gotten in the door because we were so small. But because they were a shareholder, we got great service, we got a lot of support and help, and we've gradually grown. And so I think, as we're doing, as we move into Wambi with the subscription business, we're also looking for synergies. And an example of a synergy is, when you run a fleet bicycle business, and bikes are doing 12,000 kilometers a year, you have a lot of consumables. So hey, where do some of those synergies come from? Well, it's the companies making the consumables. That makes sense. And so, and because you also get a lot of data, right? You get a lot of data from tires and chains and brakes that wear out. So I think companies that are, in the industry, strategic, they've got successful businesses going. They're not depending on you for the 5-year exit. I think that's really important. Because I think when you take money and you say, hey, I'm going to double for 5 years, well, those investors will go, okay, start investing like it. And, I think we can see in the industry today, companies that have grown maybe too quickly, and you run into problems. So I think that's, for me, one of the biggest takeaways is you have to have good investors. Ideally, they're strategic, but that they're not going to push you to do things that you might not want to do. So I think that's where the strategics come in, because they've got something successful going, and they want to see you be successful, but they don't want you to run so fast that you fail, right? So I heard Kay's 10x number, and I was, 10x. I mean, when you're doing hardware like us, 10x that's a hard number, right? Anybody that's making stuff, 10x is a hard number. But I think, for us, it would be more like, hey, can we do 20% a year, 20 to 30% a year? And that's more sustainable because we have to hire the people, we have to set up the processes, all of these things that are hard, that we know we have to do, but it's a little bit slower. And so when you have patient investors, that helps a lot.
So one advantage of leveraging capital markets like the car industry is talent acquisition, right? So I want to spend a little bit more time on talent acquisition in the bike or e-bike industry. So Charlie, you're building a company that has the hardware element and also the software capability. So what's your strategy for talent acquisition? And how do you make sure a software team and hardware team can work like seamlessly and effortlessly together?
Yeah, I think the question is quite difficult for me at the beginning. I remember in the third year, I started to expand my team, and I recruit a lot of software guy and hardware guy, electronic guy from electronic industry because I have worked there for a couple of years, so I know someone. And I think within 1 year, nearly all of them left. And I started to think about
and why did they leave?
Yeah, that's a reason. You are asking me why I ask myself. Yeah, so I try to ask myself why. Because when I work in electronic industrial, I was the leader of them. And when I moved to bicycle industrial, I was the leader of them as well. But why? So the same thing, I think I spent a couple of years then I know. Because the culture of bicycle industrial is totally different from electronic industrial. So let me make an example. If we want to, try produce a cell phone in electronic industry, I would say at least 1,000 pieces we have to do. At least 1,000 pieces. But the same thing happened in bicycle industry. Come on, if you produce 1,000 bicycle, the model is probably the total quantity in a year, which means after you assemble the bicycle, then that was the only time you produce. You don't need to do anything more. So normally in bicycle industry, we just try 2 and 3 bicycle for your trial run. But how can you reach a level of the quality if you just build 2 or 3 bicycles? The misunderstanding start here. Because electronic guys, when they jump into the bicycle industry, they saw this, they feel, the quality of bicycle industry is just like this. They don't even think about how can you make your quality that good if you just build 2 sample bicycles. And that's why I said misunderstanding happen. And, the bicycle guys feel, you just think we are nothing. So we don't have any trust. And eventually electronic guy left because they say, I don't want to stay in this kind of traditional field. So I think after that, when I recruit talent, I try to let them know the real case. And I think the hardest part is try to them lower down their quality requirement. Originally, they have this quality level in electronic industry, but at this moment, you have to set your quality level like here in bicycle industry. I'm not talking about bicycle industry is just like this. I'm talking about you have to understand something in reality. And I think after that, as long as you recruit the first one who know that, then the second one, the third one, the fourth one, everything becomes smoother. That's how I feel. And it's very lucky at this moment I have more than 50 engineers in our company, and for me, it looks like they work very happy. So I think that's
So it's all about expectation management to begin with. Right?
That's the key word. I should let you say that, right?
So Josh, do you agree?
Well, my answer would be a little different. I would say, first of all, I don't think of people as talent. We think of them as teammates. So I'm team captain, and that's how I think of our team. They're teammates. That means if they're successful, I can be successful, right? And so our whole kind of compensation structure, everything is done around that sort of kind of teamwork, right? So when the company makes money, everybody shares in that upside. And you know, in Chinese, there's the term 老板, right? That's boss. It's 老板. And I hate that term because I think it's basically a very top-down kind of structure. And you know, what I say to our team is that, hey, we want, you know, we have 80 people on our team. So we want 80 laobans. So we want 80 shareholders, right? So we want 80 people caring about making more money, not wasting money. And so I think when people are empowered and they feel that they share the upside, I think that's a great way to get people to feel, hey, I want to work at this place. So a little bit different.
So last question I would ask is, because I noticed that both of you put your headquarters in Taiwan. So that's also related to the talent acquisition question. So how do you leverage the talent or the resources in Taiwan to grow your company? So why Taiwan?
I'm doing electric bicycle, and simply say electric bicycle means bicycle, mechanics, software and hardware. That's it. I mean software and electronics. So when I decided to fund a company, an electric bicycle company, it's quite easy for me because I don't think I am able to find another place where I'm very easy to find talent from these four industries very easily. But in Taiwan, I think the bicycle industry in Taiwan is quite strong. And electronics, I believe all you guys know, we have TSMC, we have MediaTek, we have a lot of very famous electronic companies. And I think as well as software company and mechanical company. And I speak Chinese for sure. And in addition, we found if I stay in Taichung, I think I probably just need to spend 48 hours. I'm able to build a complete bicycle because the bicycle, village. So it's quite easy for me to make the final decision. I decide to locate in Taichung, and start my company in Taiwan. Yeah. Well, so I think that's why I do this. Yeah.
Josh?
Well, Taiwan's the center of premium bicycles globally, period. All of the suppliers are here, even if the factories are in a different country, right? Headquarters are here. And so it's easy to communicate and build relationships, right? The relationships are so strong, or so important, because, you know, like with all of our suppliers, you can literally call up and say, hey, and this has happened to us, hey, we need this custom headset, and I know your lead time is 18 months right now, but our other Chinese supplier canceled on us. Can you help us out? And you can, if it's a friend, you can get a headset, cut to the front of the line, and that's actually a real story. So thank you to Douglas at FSA. But these are real things that you build up over time, and you know, being in Taiwan, that's the center of, right, the center of the universe for premium bikes. So that's why we're here.
Good. Sorry, we're running out of time, so we probably don't have time for a Q&A today. But I think after the session, feel free to reach out to Charlie and Josh for any mingling and questions. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank
you, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlie, Josh. Thank you, Mark. And I guess a big takeaway is hardware is hard, right, Josh? Yeah. So I guess next up we have the next 5 startups coming from the 10 countries. But what we'll do now is we'll first have the startups coming up just to kind of, oh, everybody's already prepared here. So first we'd like to invite Anna. And from Anna, we'll be representing Noka. So come on up, Anna. Yeah, is that on? Mic? You're good, girl. I think it's good now.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Noka Mobility. Product, order, sustainability data currently needs to be managed and entered manually over and over again at each step of the supply chain. That means component suppliers, assemblers, OEMs, distributors, and retailers. As a result, information is either not added at all, creating a supply chain black box, or people spend more than 40% of their time managing and searching for information. That's 3 hours per day per person. And it's only going to get worse. With increasing product customization, sustainability regulation, and supply chain challenges, companies are looking at costs of at least 100,000 euros per year or 3 million new Taiwan dollars. But it doesn't have to be. With Noka, we help you to structure and organize your product, transaction, and sustainability data and make it shareable with just a few clicks. By combining component, vehicle, and order information across company borders, we help you build optimized processes with all of your business partners and leverage real-time insights through analytics. I very much look forward to meeting you at the Bike Venture area. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. Oh, man, everybody's been good. No overages. Next, if possible, can we have George from Viewaboo? Thank you, guys. Come on up, George.
Thank you. Hi, I am the founder and CEO of Viewable, George Chang. And I was going to ask a question. Has anyone here ever given tech support to their parents? Well, if you have, then you know that doing it over the phone can be super, super annoying. Unfortunately, that's what life is like for a lot of customer support agents. They have to deal with problems and try to solve them without being able to see what the problem actually is. Viewable allows customer support departments to solve problems visually using interactive on-screen tools with a customer's smartphone, but with no apps to install. A customer simply receives a link that activates their back-facing camera, and within seconds can start showing the agents what problem they're actually looking at and can work with them much more easily. This reduces friction, it improves service times, and it provides a much improved customer support experience. So solve problems faster and solve them easier by solving them visually with Viewable. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, George. Next up, come on. Yuri, you ready? Come on, you're in the team at Scarborough. Come on up, come all the way from the UK.
Hi everyone, we are Scarper. We developed the third generation of e-bike drive systems. Unlike mid-drives and hub motors, with Scarper you do not need to design a complete frame around the drive system. Scarper fits regular bikes with no modification to the frame or wheel while providing exceptional riding experience. Our mission was to find the most uniform part on all bikes and make that a drive system. We did this by creating Disc Drive, a full gearbox inside a disc brake rotor, which we designed with Red Bull Advanced Technologies. With Scarper, you could click on electric power when you want it, and when you want your regular bike back, you click it off. We have started a mass manufacturing process, and we are looking for industry partners. Please come and try it at the Bike Venture Zone in Hall 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Scarborough and team. So you guys can attack those mountains in Taiwan very easily and ride with your friends, guys. Next up, I'd like to invite all the way from Sweden, but also Taiwan, Elias from Kigo Mobility. Come on up, Elias.
大家好吗? So how many of you have ordered something from Uber Eats or Food Panda? Something like that. I think most of you. Did you know that there is about 30 million couriers of the world running around? And that they are riding maybe 100 kilometers a day, and that most of them are still on fossil fuel scooters. That's a lot of CO2. So Kigo makes electric bicycles specifically for couriers. Long range, sturdy, they can take a lot of cargo. We even have AI-enabled cameras on them to keep track of how they are riding so that they can be more safe. So we started out 2 years ago here at Taipei Bike Show, where we showed off our first product. And since then, 2/3 of the 16 largest delivery companies in the world have tried our bikes and they like them. So we are here today to try to find investments so we can grow. And we are very happy that even though we concentrate on the European market, we have just found ourselves a Taiwanese distributor. So soon you will see our bikes on the street of Taipei as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Elias. Yeah, Kigo has a lot of interactions with Uber Eats and a lot of food mobility services. Next up, allow me to introduce Johnny Smith from Velco. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Johnny. I'm in charge of sales and marketing for Velco. Velco, we're a French and German company. What we do is IoT solution for e-bike brands. So IoT is a little bit of a hot topic. What we try to do is provide a solution for any e-bike brand that is more traditional, as we just heard about with Josh and Charlie. What we're bringing is technology that they can plug on their e-bike so that then they're able to bring the user experience into a digital world. Bringing services with a white label mobile application, bringing connectivity with an IoT solution that can be plugged on many different drive systems. We're currently sold in 5 different countries. We've been equipping more than 50,000 e-bikes. And today, what we're looking for is your help to be able to scale even more, go global. We're looking for business partners and financial partners for the future. Thank you very much. See you in Hall 1.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, buddy. So you've heard from the 5 startups now and earlier. All 10 of them will be in Hall 1, like I said. And the location will be posted again. But at the same time, this next session is quite interesting, and it's also the story of Taiwan, not just for Giant, but also a lot of other OEMs that service the world through the supply chain of Taiwan. Corporate, wow. From Angel IPO to Giant Innovations. Our session coming up features an inspiring journey of entrepreneurial evolution with Bonnie Tu, chairperson of Giant Group, interviewed with Elisa Chu, our own, of Anchor Taiwan. Welcome up to the stage. Come on, ladies.
maybe I should wait for like a minute or so before all of this picture-taking moments are done. Woo! Finally, last session of the Bike Venture Summit. Bonnie, such
Good
a great...
afternoon.
Yeah, finally. And the first moment that I saw her, guess what I saw? Bonnie, can you stand up just for 3 seconds?
Me?
Yes,
No?
yes, yes. Can you see? Can you zoom in? What's here?
Anchor.
So many
Anchor.
anchors on her.
So
Thank you
many
so
anchor.
much, Bonnie.
Anchor Taiwan, right?
Thank you. It's really such a great honor and delight to have you here, Bonnie.
It's my pleasure and also my honor to be here to share the experience with everyone.
Yes, and this is the very first Bike Venture Summit. So we talk a lot about corporate startup collaboration and strategic investments and so on and so forth. Because giants, it's such a giant now. I think very often we forgot that Giant was once also a tiny, tiny startup, smaller than any of the startups pitching on the stage just now. And I think a lot of people also didn't realize that for Bonnie, even though now everybody kind of like sees her as the chairperson of Giant. And a lot of people in Taiwan also call you the godmother of the bicycle industry. A lot of people didn't realize that Bonnie was actually one of the early stage, in startup terminology, angel investor for Giants. In addition to that, she was instrumental in getting Giants public. And later on, she started a venture from within, which we're going to talk a lot more in a bit. Outside of all of that, she managed to still also be a cyclist and conquer Tour de France, the female version. Amazing, incredible lady. Thank you so much for being here. Today, we want to really take you back to Giant's humble beginning and to really relive the moments and see, as a startup, as an investor, what can we learn from the Giant story, especially with Bonnie's life so intertwined with it. So before I invite Bonnie to transport us back to that very first beginning, first, I want to show this picture. Can you guess who this is? Anybody has seen this picture before? So Bonnie, tell us.
This is me. When I was...
No AI, it's real.
No AI, the real person. This is me. I think I was in the sophomore years, actually within my dormitory of Tankang University. And took by my good friends, Peggy.
Your good friend Peggy. And also around that time, when you were still in college,
yes,
you first heard about the story and the idea from the founder of Giant, King Liu, about, hey, there is something that I would like to start. Can you take us back to how everything started?
It was the Chinese New Year's luncheon, 1972. That the first, my uncle, Mr. King Liu, mentioned that, how about we start up a bicycle assembly company? And it happened coincidentally that I read an article from a magazine about there's a bicycle boom in United States in 1971. And my uncle told us that now so many Americans brought the cash to come to Taiwan to buy the bike. So we should, according to him, we should assemble the bike and export to USA. That is how it started. And I persuade my parents, yeah, this is a good business. It's good for the health because it helped the heart, and it's a good trading, and it is an export business. It's good.
And at the time, also because you're the single child. So basically,
Yes.
I think what you said in the family weighs
Yes.
quite a bit. So your parents, especially I think your mother specifically, supported quite a lot
Yes.
with Kin.
My mother is the elder sister of Mr. King Liu, and they are very close. So he tried to support his every business adventure. So that is how it started.
And you mentioned every business. So I think that implied that there were many others before Giants. And what happened to those?
I would say Mr. King Liu is an entrepreneur. And another very important thing is he is a born engineer. He is very good with engineering things. He is very good with everything that moves or any mechanical things, that he is very good at that.
So like radio and anything with mechanics, he will be able to...
Radio, car, motorcycle, anything you require a machine, he can handle that.
I see. And back then, so when you were still in college, you convinced your parents, especially your mom, to invest into Giants. But then after you graduated, as far as I know, you started teaching English, and then later on, you went to Taipei to start
Yes.
working. And what happened? Why did you come back to Giants? And at the time, as far as I know, you were driving something like this. At the time, I think it was a pretty flashy car back then. Seems like you had a pretty good life. So what brought you back to, I think at the time, Zhanghua, Taichung, Dajia, from Taipei?
Actually, when I was in Taipei, I don't have a car. My mother bought me a Cortina, Ford Cortina.
I don't know if anybody knows this car.
To lure me back from Taipei. At that time, Taipei is such a big city, so popular, so enjoyable, and I'm working at a trading company. So I have a happy life in Taipei. So my mother says, okay, it's high time for you to come back to our own company. And they need extra hands. And just because at that time, not many people in Giant can speak English or read or write English. So it is very important to have people able to speak English.
So with this car, you decided to come back and started working for Kin as a secretary to begin with.
It is not I decide, my mother decided.
Your mother decided for you. And at the time, as far as I know, before you came back, she was the chairperson, actually, for Giants.
Yeah, because at that time is actually whoever can invest more into the company will be the chairperson. So my mother was the chairperson at that time.
The loving sister who continued to support the brother and basically invested in more capital and became the chairperson.
But as soon as the Giant turned break even, he gave back the chairperson's title back to Mr. King Liu.
I see,
Yes.
I see. And that was actually a few years, as far as I know, almost like 4 or 5 years after Giant was funded.
Yes.
Yes.
We have a very struggling time. As you can see, because at that time, we didn't have full capacity. So there's a lot of leisure time, so off time. So we have a lot of leisure activities. I think this is one of the sports events.
Yes, I love that. I guess, like one thing that really impressed me was that even with Giant's success now, I think back then they also went through several years without making money.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess you persevere and you still keep the team members and train them. It's kind of like, I guess, 无薪假ish these days for those that speak Mandarin. But then still kind of like train the workforce, keep them, persevere, and constantly reinvent yourself.
I remember we actually had work for 4 days and 1 day for training.
Pretty incredible.
Or 1 or 2 days for training, because at that time, the working days is 6 days. not 5 days.
That's correct. That's correct. We also have this other picture, also from the very first factory of Giants.
Yes.
This is in Dajia.
Yes. Actually, this factory is within the Dajia town. Now the Giants factory is more at the more suburb. I shouldn't say suburb, but Dajia is the suburb. But this is within the town itself. But now the Giants factory is more located at the outskirts of Dajia.
I see. And this was kind of like one of the pictures from the early days. And when I was looking at this picture, I was pretty amazed because you could probably tell from your left-hand side, that's Bonnie, when she was, I don't know how many years younger. In the middle, that's Mr. King Liu. And the right, that's Bonnie's mother. And later I realized that, whoa, there are actually 3 chairpersons in this picture.
Yes, actually, I checked the date of this picture taken. This picture taken is a big thing for Giant at that time. This was taken in 1981 because at that year, Giant export $35 million and for export. And we are ranking 37 in the whole Taiwan. And we are giving this trophy from the Taiwan Economic Affairs Department. So this is a big thing for Giant.
Really historical moments. And with this picture, I want to quickly also ask Bonnie, because even though King Liu, he's a born engineer, but then he himself or anybody from your family, did anyone knows how to make bicycle?
No.
No.
Definitely no. We know nothing.
How did that work? But I kind of like that already because these days a lot of the startup type people, when they try to quote unquote disrupt a business or industry, they also didn't know too much about that existing business. So at the time, without knowing anything, what happened? How did you move from that to the Giants today?
Because at the very beginning, we thought the assembly the bicycle is very simple. And then we find out, no, this is not the case. The tire may drop out from the rim because the specification and because also the industrial tolerance is so different. And so because I have an uncle, they actually live in Japan, and he has many connections. So he took the Mr. King Liu to see one of the Japan's, I won't say the first class, but at least second class bicycle company. So during that visit, Mr. King Liu realized that making bicycle, actually you need the industrial tolerance for the products, and also the quality is extremely important.
And I can get that because I feel like at least for every single person at Giant that I have spoken with, and especially Bonnie, I think you care so much about the quality because I almost feel like you really have this sense of responsibility because what you build affects people's life. And I think this too are pictures that I took a few months ago when I cycled from Taipei to Zhanghua, and I went to the factory in Dajia. This is the current factories of Giant, still in Dajia. I was so amazed that these giants, they still have this factory really in the rice field, literally, as you could see. And I was told later that this place still manufactures some of the best products.
This is we call it the mother company, the mother factory. They produce the most high-end products and the most value-added products here.
I think including the leaf that I ride.
Yes, exactly.
Amazing, amazing. And with that, I want to change gear a little bit. So you first came back, but after you got married, you moved to Malaysia and later on Singapore. So you stay abroad for, in total, about 12 years.
12 years.
Can you tell us a little bit about what were you doing during those 12 years? And what have you seen, what have you learned that became perhaps important for later on for Giants?
I think the first 5 years I lived in Malaysia in a small town. And there I learned how to run a small company. And then later on, I moved to Singapore. And I spent, during my 7 years in Singapore, actually I spent a lot of time in the golf country club. So I play a lot of golf.
At the time, you were not cycling, just golfing?
No. I didn't ride until I'm age 57.
And at the time, through the country club, through playing golf with a lot of executives over there?
Executive, expatriate, and many local tycoon. As you can see, Singapore is the place for all the tycoon from Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand. They all have their maybe a residence in Singapore. That is where their children get educated. So in Singapore, you have a community, because we simply cannot get into the Singaporeans' local community. So your community is mostly expatriate, and then also the tycoon from the neighborhood country, and also the royalty from Malaysia.
And I guess spending quite a bit of time with them broadened your horizon. And later on, I think it also became quite important for you to push Giant to go public.
Exactly, because during my 7 years, I always call them my prolonged MBA course. And during that 7 years, I learned a lot about doing business, of how to run a global business, how to do the finance, and all sort of practical knowledge. And so when I came back to Taiwan, I can see my company is in the high-speed growing area. And during that time, we still have to have our own, because we are directors and supervisors. So we have to have our personal asset to put into, to give as a collateral to the bankers, especially Taiwan local banks. So I think that is not the right approach for financing for a private company.
So essentially, if you're a director of a company, then you're personally liable for anything that happens to the company. So back then, it was very difficult and very risky for board members of a company. And during the rapid growth period, I think Bonnie saw the opportunity and also the need to push the company to go public. This picture was taken, I believe, in 1994.
Yes,
when
December.
Giant was listed. And at the time, would you say, let's say if Giant didn't go public, what would you have missed? And can you share a little bit with us at the time, because of this decision, what has been possible?
I think in 1994, we already invest in China. And China is a fast-growing sections of my industry. So we really need the working capitals. So with the IPO, we are able to get more funds, and we can have more trust from the bank. And our directors do not have to pledge our personal asset with the bank. So that is, to me, that is one of the most important things.
Yeah, and this is another picture taken on the same day, I think still with the old Giant logo and the trademark. And on your left-hand side is Tony, and also again, Bonnie's mother.
Yeah, this gentleman is our ex-CEO.
So I want to ask something related to IPO, because in Taiwan, in the bike industry, even though we have so many companies along the supply chain, the reality is that those that actually went public were still relatively limited. So I'm curious, in your opinion, do you think more companies should go public? What would be the major considerations?
I think for my industrial friends, they think the IPO is too troublesome. And there are Taiwan SEC have many very strict rules. And another thing is, it is difficult to explain to the investors the nature of OEM business. Although nowadays there's a lot of OEM business of the high-tech industry, I think they can understand the high-tech industry, but for bicycle, it's still difficult for them to understand.
But hopefully, if there's one place for the investors to understand the value of especially the bicycle-related OEM supply chain, hopefully that's Taiwan, I suppose. Yeah, and what do you think? Do you think more of them should go public, or do you think it's actually more of a personal choice?
I think it's more of a personal choice. I always think actually IPO is really a very troublesome thing. And you have to drive your business to grow and make sure the investor can understand your business model and also the potential of your business. It requires a lot of effort to communicate with investor and to let the investor understand that you really have a future. So that is the reason why in States, there are so many bicycle companies, they didn't IPO.
Yeah, so I think for giants, on the one hand, going public really gave you that resources, especially back then, so that it allows that rapid growth in China and also the rest of the world. But at the same time, you also need to really face this, in a way, pressure from constant growth. Constant growth with revenue, like Josh was mentioning. In a way, it's like having many mini investors looking at you.
Yes.
And like requesting that you have to constantly grow. And after the IPO, I want to move into the next phase. So I am a big Leaf fan. And in case you don't know about Leaf, this is the first and only bicycle brand dedicated to women. And so I'm curious, because for Leaf, in a way, in the startup terminology, it's kind of like you're building a venture from within. Because in the beginning, Leaf was kind of like this project. Early on, we talk about King Liu. He started Giant at, when he was almost 40.
Yes.
And I think at the time when he was challenging himself to do the round the island cycling trip, he was 73 already.
Yes.
And at the time, he invited Bonnie, and that's when you were like, okay, this bike is not for me.
Actually, he didn't invite me.
You invited yourself?
I just say I want to go.
And by the way, for those who don't know about cycling around Taiwan, essentially it's a more than 900 kilometers journey. It takes usually around 9 days. Every day you cycle for more than 100 kilometers, 9 days consecutively. And King Liu did it when he was 73. If you think that's crazy enough, he did it again when he was 80, by the way. So let's come back to this first, because I want to talk about Leaf. So at the time, it was kind of like this small project. And in a way, you were an entrepreneurship. So, like within the company, you started this venture. And can you tell us a little bit more? Because here, something that I really love about Leaf's story is that you really saw this needs. And you want to build something so that everyone will have the right bicycle for them.
Yes. Because during this 207's ride with Mr. King Liu, I found I do not have a suitable bicycle for me. because the better bicycle is always made for men, not for women. So we start in 2008, we start this LEAP project. And during this, when we produce the design, the LEAP product, we find out the lever for the brake or the gear shifting. This gear lever is so big, and most of the women's hands are smaller, and our strengths are smaller compared with men. So within one of these Shimano's riding, I told the Shimano people, I asked one of their salesperson, I said, please give me your hand. And then he give me his hand. And then I push my hands on it. You can see what is the size difference. And he said, wow, I'm almost only half of his hand. So I say, do you think with your size and my size, we use the same brake lever? Is that fair? He started to laugh. But nothing changed. So the rest of the year, whenever I have an opportunity to go to Japan, I will repeat my request again and again. And this is one of the picture we took in 2017 when we launched the Langma in Italy, because that is such an important bicycle. So we invite the global, very influential media to Italy to participate this launching. And I used this opportunity to write a petition to Shimano and SRAM and ask them to give us a smaller brake lever or the gear lever. So this is I explained to all these medias.
In a way, what a startup can do is incredible, right? Like, even though in the beginning, maybe lever was small in terms of the quantity and so on and so forth, but you can still try to drive change. And in case you don't know about Lemma, you probably have heard of TCR, Giant's very popular model. So Lemma is the female version, the leaf version of TCR. It's also my bike. So this picture really meant a lot to me. So this was from the same trip?
The same trip.
Same trip.
I visited one of our the professional racing team at Giro Italia.
So this was 2017, still didn't work, by the way. And then so 2018, you did it again. So you went to Japan. This, as far as I know, is the oldest son of the chairperson at Shimano.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So currently he was transferred to the fishing tackle division.
So in addition to enjoying sushi, Bonnie will be like, hey, give me that smaller liver. We need that. And it's really critical for safety when you cycle. So I have to say, when I first got my bike, I didn't know I have this exact same lever on my bike. So I recognized that Shimano 105, that sign. But in the beginning, I didn't know the backstory until I was preparing for this session. And I have to say, I was very touched.
Actually, this morning, right here at the grand opening of this Taipei show, I met with the head of the Taiwan operation, Bob, of SRAM. And then he explained to me that their new red components will even come up with even smaller brake lever. That is for men and women. So now men start to have a smaller lever.
That's great. I love that story. And I think from here, we really could see, even with, like a small startup or project, you could still drive difference and drive change. And at the same time, as far as I know, this DNA in creating Leaf also expanded into other projects within Giants, right?
Yes.
Can you give us an example?
Yes. This year, we came up with a project called Juvenile Bikes. So we evaluate every part that can make the children can enjoy cycling more. So we change a lot of things, such as the suspension fork for the children. So that is totally different.
Suspension fork for the children or the lever for the women, if they're not available, but if they should be available, then I guess you will put in the resources, R&D, and so on and so forth, or basically butter the Japanese friends while having dinner and constantly request for them to make something for you.
But this time is easier because now we can develop and also manufacture some of the components. So it's easier now.
Yeah, and that was really great commitment. And with that, I want to move into the session that I think a lot of you are curious about. So we have already talked about the very humble beginning, the growth stage, IPO, internal innovation. Now let's move on to the current and the future. So a lot of our discussion earlier was about corporate startup engagement and strategic investments. And according to public information, Giant almost invested into Stages, a US company.
Yes.
This is public information. And so 20 million, by the way. And so it shows that for Giants, you do have the resources and interest to invest into either startups or related companies. So I think a lot of people here are curious in terms of, how do I get into Giant's door to collaborate with you, either to get your orders or to get your investments? So first of all, can you share a little bit with us in terms of any specific areas of technology or innovation that you are looking for?
We are looking for something like anything that can make the cycling more enjoyable. Whatever. You think your products, your ideas, whether it is software or hardware, as long as it can make the cycling more enjoyable, please come to us. You don't have people to introduce you. Just knock on our door. We will be more than happy to study your ideas.
So in a way, because a lot of time people will try to find referrals and so on and so forth to knock on your door. But in a way, as long as what they're making makes sense,
yes,
you will then, you don't need specific referrals. You'll chase after them.
Yes. Make sure your product is not gimmick. It's genuine. It is valuable to the consumer. I'm not talking about the super professionals. Make the everyday people can enjoy their cycling more, because we need to have more people to come into cycling, because cycling is such a good sport.
So I think, I have heard that cycling is the new golf, or cycling is the new golfing. So I suppose now you started cycling a lot more and stopped golfing.
I was a golfer, and at 57, I find out, wow, cycling is more enjoyable. And that also remind me of my childhood. Wow, how did I enjoy the cycling? So I concentrate on the cycling. But I think if I'm too old, will I be able to ride? So I think it's high time for me also go back to golf. Otherwise, when I'm too old, I cannot pedal. I don't have a sport. So it is better to have multi-sports so I can enjoy.
Yeah, and when I ask whether there's any specific categories that you're looking for, I noticed that for you, it's more important to really get more people on bikes and to enjoy cycling, to make cycling more accessible for more people.
Yes.
So startup people, next time when you are trying to pitch money, you can start with a sentence with, my product does this to make people enjoy cycling, I guess. And this, basically, how many people have been to the Giant headquarters, the new headquarters? Some of you, there's an amazing museum over there, by the way. So this picture was taken early on, when you were still building.
Yes.
the giant headquarters. And I'm curious, so this whole bike venture, essentially we believe that with Taiwan's strengths with the bicycle industry and also the tech, consumer electronics, and semiconductor industry, we really believe that there is really great chance for a lot more collaboration.
Yes, that is my expectation and my hope and my wish. I hope the more high-tech company will take Giant seriously. We are willing to cooperate with whoever to make the bicycle more enjoyable.
Here, that's the open call for the tech industry. I know from our RSVP list, there are a lot of executives from the tech companies. So hopefully with that open call later on, knock on Bonnie's door and explore some opportunities to collaborate. But before we close, I guess we cannot end any fireside chat without getting personal. So I took these pictures again. This was like 2021, I believe. On my very first trip to cycle around Taiwan, and I started from the Giant headquarters. So left-hand side, your left-hand side, that red dot up there, that's actually the logo of TSMC. That's actually right across from the current global headquarters of Giant. So these two buildings sort of like sit across the streets. And I remember when I was there, basically this was the time that I consider as the starting points for me to get into cycling. Bonnie was there as well, so I consider Bonnie at least partially responsible for me to get into cycling, both personally and also professionally. But before we end, I know that this year you're celebrating your 75 years old birthday.
Yeah.
By doing
a 175 kilometers ride within one day.
Within one day. 175 kilometers within one day. Oh my God. I don't know how many of you have tried that, but definitely this lady, 75 years old this year, will be doing that in about a month, actually.
Yes.
In about
a month.
Yes. So, and also, as far as I know, later this year, you will also have your book published.
Yes, this is my memoir, and I would like to have more women or even men to have get the inspiration from me, from and share my experience.
And I really look forward to that. And by the way, before I wasn't sure whether Bonnie will be open for Q&A, so I specifically checked with her whether she will be okay. And she was always very open-minded. She'll say, of course, bring it on. What I worry is that, usually the audience in Taiwan can be a little bit shy. So in about 30 seconds, I'm going to open the floor for, I think we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions. And as we get our microphone ready, do we have any questions from the audience? Oh, right away. Oh, wow, okay. All right. First, maybe one gentleman, and we'll have one for the lady.
Hi, my name's Mateo. I'm from Colombia. I live in the Netherlands and work also in cargo bike sharing. But thanks a lot for the very inspiring presentation and Bonnie for your very inspiring story. I wonder, you worked in equality and basically bringing the bike to everyone, and now we see that a lot of municipalities and governments around the world are investing heavily in mobility for all. And I wonder, what does the bike industry need to do to be able to supply that change and enable it? Because I think that there's a need for more products and more, I come from Colombia, and I see there's a very big need for more products on the market that supply that need, from kids, as you mentioned, all the way to cargo bikes and sports and stuff like that. So that would be my question, and thank you.
I think the issue with the Colombia is the supply chain, because there's simply no supply chain within that area. So whoever going there will be a hard struggle. So the best way is just, in the meantime, I'm not talking about the long term. For the short term, the best way is ask your government to free the import. So there's be able to import more bicycle or any of the good mobility things into the Colombia.
Great, awesome. And we have the question from
Deborah. Yeah, thank you, Bonnie, for sharing with us so many special picture. Yeah, amazing. I have, if I don't, by the way, Elisa, I'm the early fans of Leaf. I have 7 Leaf bicycles.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
7.
Yes. Bonnie, I have one question because you joined Giant from the very beginning, from
Yes.
startup, and also you also joined the operation of a Giant, and now Giant is a 52 years, very successful enterprise. I have a question. Really curious. What's the most unforgettable challenge for you when you, no matter you joined Giant from the very beginning startup until now, Giant is very successful. It's a global, largest, the biggest, most successful bicycle group in the world. What's the most unforgettable challenge you ever face in company operation?
I think the most unforgettable challenge I have is the try to build the consensus within the company. You know, once you're in the very beginning, this company, we have 8 original shareholders, 8 families, that means. So even in the very beginning, it's quite difficult to build the consensus within these 8 people. And then now, since now we have, just in this headquarters, we have more than, almost close to 300 people. And then also we have 9 factories, 13 sales companies. How to let everybody have the same goal, same target. And that is the most challenging. I think even for me, sometimes I have a different opinion with my CEO. So we have to make one decision. We cannot make 2 decisions. Then we'll drive the company crazy. So one of the people got to give in. Whether my CEO makes sense or myself makes sense. And because we are all been in the company for so long, and to us, we have such a commitment. So we have different opinion, but we never really cannot solve the things. We always can come to one conclusion.
Always come to one conclusion, and I think that every great leader has to do that. Bonnie, do you want to take that one? I think that gentleman is very persistent. Let's take that one question.
Hi, Bonnie. That was really awesome to see. Joey Solomon from the United States via Taichung. I've been in Taichung for a little while now. Josh alluded to this earlier about Taiwan, Taichung specifically, being an epicenter for the high-end bicycle market. For manufacturing or as an HQ base. My one question, it's kind of a loaded question, but I want to ask it anyway. How do you see Taiwan to maintain that status moving forward globally? And Giant is at the top of that pyramid, and I would love to see it continue and progress forward.
Thank you for asking that question for me. I would love to know as well.
I think I should thank Mr. King Liu and Mr. Tony Low. Since 2003, they start the 18. They actually have the seed within the Taiwan's bicycle company. Not only the complete bike assembler, but also for the components. Everybody understand the importance of innovations. So for the Taiwan, although we didn't say out loud as some of the bicycle brand, they say innovation or die. But for us, it is the everyday practice. We don't have to say it. It is within our blood. So that is the reason why I see some of the Europeans, they are more take it easy now, but for most of the Taiwanese, we are still innovation, and ESG. That is the future.
Great, and I think, the story with A-Team, especially I think back then, to include even some competitors, but for the collective, really kind of like, in a way, at the time or at some moment, survival and growth of the industry.
Yes.
That's really the key. And I think we did it back then, and I believe that we can do this again.
Yes, certainly.
With that, thank you so much, Bonnie. I'm really, really thankful for you to support this very first Pipe Venture Summit. And thank you so much for all sticking around till the very last moments. For the rest of the week, we still have a lot more activities. As we mentioned, tomorrow we have the pitch and happy hours at the Pipe Venture Zone. If you haven't checked that out yet, start up, raise your hands, the honorees. Woohoo, go and find them. Tomorrow there will be beers and also guai guai, by the way. So if you want to get some of that, make sure you RSVP and go check it out. And also Deborah and Andreas will be leading the Innovation Salon on March 8th. Make sure you RSVP with that as well. For some cyclists in the audience, we have a social ride. We are getting at capacity, but then if you are so keen on riding, let us know. With that, thank you so much, Bonnie. Thank you. Let's put our hands together. Woo!